So one of the things that Trump's era has been defined by are bait and switch practices, where you'll basically find that a policy will be announced that is to some extent popular, liked by some group of people, and they'll get excited, go, yes. And then after a couple of days or weeks, they'll renounce it in part, or they'll spin it to where what they initially said is no longer the case. This is why one of the most shameful performances I've had on this website was a stream I did about 9, 10 months ago called, Trump pulls out of North Korea or something to that extent. And I was really happy because I thought we were leaving, not North Korea, Syria. Excuse me. I was really happy because I thought we were leaving Syria. And it was a big deal because he had literally just 2 days before announcing had one of his top officials over there say, we're not leaving there for a long time. And a lot of Republicans that are in office were just like losing their minds. They were having glorified meltdowns because they're warmongers for the most part, except for a couple of people like Rand Paul. And it was glorious. It was such a great festivity to just witness, in real time. It was funny seeing people who were calling themselves liberal, who were so filled with Trump derangement syndrome, basically trying to extol him for getting out of a war that their cherished President Obama had started. And it was lovely. Everyone was being a contradictory prick, with the exception of a couple of people, including myself, who will stick to a position and give credit to whoever implements it, whether they're part of one party or the other. So a couple of days later, or about a month or two later, he renounces this to an extent. He says, "Oh, we're pulling some troops out, but we're leaving a certain number in." I go, "Hey, that's not what we were told. We were told that all of the troops were withdrawing and this war was over. We'd accomplished victory, and now you're staying over there." And I had one of his supporters come and try to write me some paragraphs long comments where they basically decided to focus on my title versus what was actually being said in the video, because it's so hard to watch a video. You can't just sit there and listen. It's very difficult. But I was saying how this is something that commonly happens, where we get told one thing and then a couple of weeks or months go by and there's a spin on it. And you've always got these people working in this tenure who are pretty much in favor of continuing any conflict forever, no matter what. The perfect example came out a few days ago. Actually, I believe it was yesterday. I'm going to read this. Trump's former UN ambassador, Haley, she said that the decision by Trump to remove U.S. troops from North Syria as Turkey plans a military offensive in the region means the U.S. is leaving Kurdish allies to die. Now, Trump could literally stay there for another year or 5, depending on if he gets reelected or not. And she would say the exact same thing if he announced his proposal once more. And it's not because it's a stupid idea by his to get out of there or to like take troops out of anywhere. It's because these people have a built-in wired system to support any long-term military conflict, no matter where it is, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how long we've been there. That's why you can have a person like Graham, who has literally been in the Senate since I was 5 years old, and been in the Senate since Afghanistan was in its 3rd consecutive year, and just still to this day proposed staying in there. And I said before, this is a guy who's in his mid 60s, and we've had senators that are in their 80s at different points. This is someone who literally could be in office for another 20 years and give interviews in the 2030s and 40s, still pushing to stay in Afghanistan, because these people don't learn. They're paid not to learn by defense contractors, and this is assisted by the fact that they'll never have to go overseas and get injured themselves or fight in any of these conflicts that they support. So that's a little prologue for the intended major discussion of this, because I actually have a series of articles I'm going to read, and for some reason I posted these in the backwards order. So I'll do that, then I'll close up and I'll read the comments that Be Still and Nama Raj are writing because you guys are seeming to entertain yourselves. Okay, North Korea's top negotiator reportedly said Saturday that nuclear talks between Pyongyang and the U.S. have broken down. The negotiations have not fulfilled our expectation and finally broke off. Kim Myong-gil told reporters through an interpreter outside the North Korean embassy, saying U.S. negotiators refused to give up their old viewpoint and attitude. Their old viewpoint and attitude. State Department officials, however, disputed the characterization, with spokeswoman Morgan Ortagus saying in a statement that the U.S. brought creative ideas and had good discussions with its DPRK counterparts during the more than 8 hours of talks. Ortega said the delegations made progress during the talks, including previewing several new initiatives that could open the door to future programs. The United States and DPRK will not overcome a legacy of 70 years of war and hostility on the Korean Peninsula through the course of a single Saturday, she said, according to Reuters. These are weighty issues and they require a strong commitment by both countries. The United States has that commitment, Ortegas added. Kim, the North Korean negotiator, offered a less optimistic summary of the talks thus far, telling reporters, the U.S. raised expectations by offering suggestions like a flexible approach, new method, and creative solutions. But they have disappointed us greatly and dampened our enthusiasm for negotiation by bringing nothing to the negotiation table, according to the news source. Look at Be Still spamming that comment. Same, Sam. Which one is it? Same or Sam? Sane or same? Pick one. All right, Kim added that the total denuclearization sought by the U.S. is still possible only when all the obstacles that threaten our safety and check our development are removed completely without a shadow of a doubt. North Korean officials have repeatedly sought relief from U.S. sanctions as part of ongoing talks. The negotiations held on the outskirts of Stockholm were the first between the two nations since a June meeting between President Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. So the U.S. in this story, they tried to go, oh, well, we can't, change everything in one Saturday. And then North Korea says, you guys have held up to this prior view that you have, so nothing is changing. And I've tried to tell that to people before, that you can literally look at every single policy that Trump has toward every single country, and it's all Obama redux. Like we're still in the same 7 wars. Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Pakistan, Somalia, Iraq. And, I mention this to his supporters because you'll see him give a speech about foreign policy, which is, it's like living in the Twilight Zone, because he will literally get up there and tell you, oh my God, we've made such tremendous progress. And it's like, well, if that's the case, and we're going into now the 3rd year of your tenure, then why the hell are we still in these countries? Why are we there? If things have changed so dramatically. And see, the reason that this North Korea story is significant is because this was supposed to be the place that he was making this big, huge difference. Oh my God, Trump is the first president to step foot in North Korea. Woohoo. But it's like, that means what? You guys were so worried about the nuclearization, and you can't even take off these stupid, crippling sanctions. That's all they wanted. Oh, so let me read another one of these, and then I'll finally read the comments that you guys are typing back and forth. I'm trying to get through this. Okay, North Korea has designated the nuclear talks with the U.S. that broke off on Saturday as sickening. North Korean officials said on Sunday they doubt the U.S. would have new proposed plans if the country went through with a Stockholm proposed nuclear negotiation in 2 weeks. The country cautioned it would wait only until the end of the year for the U.S. to come to the table with a plan. We have no intention to hold such sickening negotiations as happen this time before the U.S. takes substantial step to make complete and irreversible withdrawal of the hostile policy toward the DPRK. A spokesperson for North Korea's foreign ministry told state news agency KCNA, according to Reuters. North Korea was dissatisfied with Washington's efforts to negotiate a nuclear deal Saturday in Stockholm, saying officials brought no plans after negotiations have been stalled for months. Negotiations have not fulfilled our expectation and finally broke off, Kim Myong-gil reportedly said. The State Department has already committed to an invitation to Stockholm in 2 weeks to continue talks. A Saturday statement from the department stated that North Korea's comments do not reflect the content or spirit of today's 8.5 hour discussion. Isn't it sad these people will literally sit up all day together for like 8 hours? Think about it. The whole thing with me and North Korea, just take the sanctions off and sign some peace deal that you won't attack each other, because the U.S. has nukes as well. So just let them do their nuke stuff and sign a deal that neither of you will get involved with any. That's it. That doesn't take 8 hours to say. But they sat here for 8 hours. This is North Korea. Please take our sanctions off. Well, let's talk about that first. Just take the sanctions off. Oh, well, let's try to just take this damn sanctions off. Oh, that's literally what it was. They waste people's time and lives just sitting at these back and forths for no reason. All right, I got one more article, then I can finally start reading the comment section. I'm just trying to barrel roll through these. This prophetic summary of diplomacy. Oh, that might have been it, actually. I have two of them or one of them. There's three. North Korea labels. Oh, I feel so ignorant. I posted the same article twice. That means everything Sky Clank said about me is true. I'm very unable to accomplish small goals. He was very accurate. Okay, Be Still says Forrest Trump is just burning time in the White House. He isn't to be taken seriously. Ask his supporters, man. Namaraj says, what's your thoughts on Turkey invading Syria? It's stupid, but again, I wouldn't get involved. Will Trump's followers drink the orange Kool-Aid? Namaraj goes, orange Kool-Aid. Okay, Be Still says, there is no point to these endless wars. It's a pissing contest. And Be Still said that while sending a picture of himself peeing next to somebody else as they're having a literal pissing contest. Namaraj says, neocons always want more war for Israel. No one cares for the American people at all. Graham called Obama's foreign policy as libertarian. LMAO, Graham is insane. Yeah, I don't understand. I really wish these southern states would stop reelecting people twice as often as the ones in other places, because if someone needs to go, that's definitely one of them. V Still says defense contractors should be facing prison time. They should be locked away from what's this? Sin Society? Oh, sane society. Okay, you were correcting yourself. I got a little confused when I saw those out of context. B Still says defense contractors need to be systematically targeted. Oh, what foul talk. They need to be hugged and worshipped as these great entrepreneurs that are making the U.S. better by keeping us in never-ending conflicts. Okay, Namaraj says we shouldn't let them lobby our reps. That's for sure. Yeah, if we would overturn Citizens United there's other stuff, whatever. Okay, B Still says Trump is pathological. Astro says money, 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 and then proceeds to throw trillions of dollars onto her computer screen to show us all of her wealth. B Still says, is North Korea going to kill another guy because the deal didn't go through? Absolutely. Okay, Namaraj says, I laughed just like that too. And B Still says LOL. And then Namaraj says, okay. And then Namaraj also says, for real, how the hell does that man have a job? What man, Trump or Graham? Or why'd you say both? I mean, Graham's thing is he's in the South and they reelect people over there like crazy. Between him and Thurman, they've had the same two senators for like 60 years. So it's really, I see him staying in there for another 5 or 4 terms, unfortunately, until he'll probably die on that seat, whether that's in 20 years or 30. See, Hank Johnson is another one. Yeah, they keep him around for whatever reason. And then watch you go to his district or his state, and all the people over there call themselves anti-war. And I told you what Paul likes to, and this is why I don't give him that much credit anymore, is he likes to oppose the conflicts by vote and then also by rhetoric. But then because he wants to keep Trump's supporters thinking that he's on their team, he'll be like, yeah, the president is with me on ending these conflicts. Like, can you live in the real world, sir? It's been almost 3 years, and every single one of them from Obama has still been going on. But that's what he does. And he's talking to both sides of his mouth. He has to make someone who, like, what planet do you have to live on to think someone that keeps 7 wars going from the person they criticize everything of is any different in that respective field? Namarad says, if there was term limit, oh, here we go. Yeah, Namaraj, I'm not a fan of imposing limits on whether someone can keep their representative or not. Because the truth is, all the people who say that when it comes time to vote, they pick the same people over and over again. That's why people in the U.S. are so contradictory. Congress has a 12% approval rating, but then over 90% of its members are reelected at least twice. So I can't take that proposal seriously. Now, if we had a system where it was ranked choice voting and people were getting rid of their senators and representatives left and right, then I might be in favor of that. But as it stands, that's just a little term for people to throw around to try and think that it's going to be over. Just like Cruz introduced some bill to put in term limits to where I think it was you can only serve 2 terms as a senator, 12 years. But then they ask him, so does this mean you're going to, not run for a 3rd term when it's your time again in the 2024 Senate elections? Did that. And his supporters, they tried to stand with him. They were like, yeah, Cruz did a really good job introducing a bill to put term limits on. And then they said, well, that means he'll be out after this term, right? No. If the bill isn't passed, he should run it. Like, okay, then shut up. You're not in favor of that. Because truthfully, if you support that, you want him to be out after the term is over. Kevin says, I think Trump knows what he's doing. Of course. Namaraj says, yeah, why the hell? Yeah, what the hell? That's an amazing point. How does that happen? 12% approval. They all keep their jobs because people say one thing and do the other. You will hear people from both sides of the aisle sit there and complain about term limits, but then they vote for the same representatives over and over again. And you never hear about ranked choice voting. You never hear about anything that besides that. It's just this go-to term. The go-to term of term limits. You can go and look at the Senate right now. You got pretty much every single person in there that's been allowed to run for a 2nd term is won. People are they're say one thing, do the opposite. So I said I can't take them seriously because I watch them get on this computer and talk all that good stuff about a policy or not, and then they'll still back someone that supports the opposite. Like if you watch Ron Paul's Liberty Report, he talks a good game about how dangerous Bolton is and horrible guy, right? Because he knows that Trump supporters or Republicans in the current era aren't loyal to him. And he'll have some fans who will actually critique Trump. And then he'll still try to toe the line of pretending to, secretly be on the president's side. I'm like, what are you talking about? Pick a team. Stop trying to be so cowardly. So what if these idiots don't watch your show? You're still getting paid. They get mad if you tell the truth. Oh, well. It's just like when I did the video on why impeachment wouldn't work, and then somebody wrote me a paragraph's long comment. I was like, that's unnecessary. If you don't agree, just don't agree. I don't. That's why I said I don't watch any of this content by these people. The only time I ever watch any of their stuff is if it's some big, huge news story that just takes over everywhere. Even then, it's still whatever. All right, well, be still. You can ask Astro for that. That'll be your partnership. Yeah, this was Trump's main supposed big, huge foreign policy achievement, and it turned into nothing. That June meeting from last year literally accomplished absolutely nothing. They signed a couple of general term papers and posed for some stupid pictures, and then had another one in February where both sides ended up blaming each other. And that's literally all this relationship is. It's the US blaming North Korea for continuing to do whatever, and then North Korea says, "Hey, you guys are sanctioning us, so you're having an economic war with us while telling us not to go to war with you." Kevin says Trump needs to eat shrooms. What is he? Mushrooms? Like is he Mario? He's gonna end his tenure by going down like a green pipe. Oh, here comes the person who accurately labeled me ghetto and unable to form a complete sentence. Here to do some more bullying, and he changes his name to trick me into thinking that he's some new character. And he's got his phone number right there as his name, so I can call it and get told all of this stuff by voice, and then on FaceTime. B still says Trump. What is this? Trump madness would empower the effects of shroom. Would overpower the effects of shrooms. I mean, like I said, it's these people get upset when you just report what has actually happened. Like I remember I sat here. I had this one person on Twitter. They asked me to, and that's why I stopped using that website so much, because of that character limit. But I used to believe in typing out responses to these people, because if they approached me from like a certain angle, and then it's just, they go right back to whatever they were saying before. So like no capacity to bring in any new information. Astra says, God, please know the last thing he needs is psychedelics. I sincerely doubt he would have anything but a bad trip. We already took a bad trip to Vietnam for a stupid North Korea summit that did nothing. Kevin says, I'm watching this from my job cop's dorm. Corpse dorm. Well, make sure you and the other frat boys don't invade the bathhouse, assuming that there even is one over there. I don't know. But yeah, all these Republicans are losing their minds right now over getting troops out of Syria. And I'm like, we saw this happen 9 months ago. They announced they're leaving, and then a few days of mayhem break out with the party establishment figures who genuinely believe their defense contractor buddies are at risk, and they're all going insane. And how could Trump do this? What's going on? And then, we get a renunciation or a slight backflip a couple of days later, and everything goes right back to normal. That's why I said Cruz is really smart, because he was the only pro-war, like major name recognition Republican that I didn't see losing their mind at all when Trump announced that he was pulling out of Syria. He just sat back in his little office in Houston or Washington or whatever and waited for a few days, and then finally reacted after all of that was over to something else. Like he completely ignored it. No official statement at all. That was slick. He waited it out. He didn't have to take one side of the position, one position or the other. Namarad says all the neocons are butthurt. They say all these ISIS prisoners are going to break out and take Syria back over now, but we're leaving. They're really grasping now. It's sad. Well, it's sad also because this shows you they want every single conflict to go on forever. Like we had the same story late last year. Nothing changed, but the only thing that happens is they overreact. I did as well with the last time, but not anymore, because now I know how the cycle goes. They get you pumped up, and then they let you down. So we know not to be too excited anymore at this point. And then with North Korea, I'll get accused of taking the sides of foreign adversaries, which is a joke because we get all kind of negative interactions with people that we're supposed to be friendly with. But it's because I'm informed of the situation. They had an 8-hour meeting, and it was a complete waste of time. Who the hell would want to be friendly with someone while they're doing an economic war with you? Yeah, perpetual war. And it doesn't matter what party you vote for, it just keeps going and going. I actually said that Trump has been not as awful as Obama for the simple fact that he hasn't started as many conflict, any actually, technical ones anyway. So we went from 2 to 7 under his immediate predecessor, and uh, his fans, when I mentioned that, they get all surprised. Oh my God, you're critiquing a Democrat? Like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not on any of these people's sides. So this isn't the I hate Trump show. We every person with a reasonable thing to critique gets rebuked, whether they have a D or an R next to it. I just have to keep saying that because I get all these different people that don't do any type of research or look at anything. They just assume something. So basically, the legacy of the North Korea U.S. Relationship is. Oh, thank you, Namaraj. The legacy of their relationship under Trump is a picture of a U.S. president and a leader of North Korea while the U.S. president is in office. That's basically all that amounted to, and some like really funny or slightly heart shaking rhetoric. You still haven't joined. Yeah, I told you, Namaraj. I'm done joining people's servers. Every time I do that, something stupid happens. Getting kicked out for not being someone's friend. Man, and they'll actually what people do on Discord is they'll put up like 5 or 6 different rules of what you should do in there, and you still get kicked out just because a mod feels like it. I got kicked out of server for literally not saying anything because they thought that 70 or 80 people in there were spying on them. Or like, man, what spying on you for what? Like what? And then they're so stupid they can't even realize that you can put roles on certain users where they can't see various things. So it's really dumb. People in Discord look for drama and reasons to kick. Mods live for that. Live for that what? I think I might have heard a bad word there. Or I might have read one by accident. I'm gonna read that again to make sure I didn't see that. Oh my God, you actually said it. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. You might as well get some soap. Besides, you love Discord. It's your favorite website. You can go on there and say all the bad words you want with no accountability. People were so appalled by your rhetoric on it, they probably call you astronomical astro by the sheer magnitude of the swear words you use. All right, be still. What other comments do you want to make? Because I see you were on the roll earlier. You were talking about the orange Kool-Aid and all the other different remarks that I found so so comical. I'm gonna have to go back to English class. I got one term wrong. I lived up to Brian's expectation or lack thereof of having a screwed up vocabulary that is very garbage and not very defined and uncouth and all the other terms that can be used to describe something negatively. What other stories are in here? Klobuchar pulls in nearly 5 million in third quarter. Oh my God, I'm so impressed. Sanders raised like 5 times as much. And they're telling him to drop out, but they won't tell her to drop out. And I'm not calling your phone number, by the way. So you might as well take that down. You might as well just call yourself Brian. That number there, I'm not trying to figure out your area code. So we're on to you. U.S. Japan signed trade deals. Man, this is a slow news day. Somebody went to the hospital. Oh, look, McConnell warns Trump against withdrawing troops from Syria. He's not withdrawing anything. Or if he does, just going to bring them back a few months later. That's why Secular Talk, so Kyle Kalinske, he actually has like a segment where he repeatedly has said that both Trump and Obama use the yo-yo effect where they pull some troops out and they bring some back in, they pull some out and they bring some back in. And they do that. They want you to think something's actually changing, and it just drags out year after year. You can dig up news articles. Obama announced today that 4,000 troops will be leaving from Syria. And then 6 months later, Obama announced today that 3,000 troops will be going to Syria. A few months later, Obama announced that 5,000 will be leaving from Syria, but 6,000 will go back in 6 months. Like, I'm good. It's just like with the Israel Palestinian conflict. Like, you know, everybody goes in office. I'm going to be the one who finally ends this, and then 4 or 8 years go by and nothing. And in the case of the last couple of administrations, it's more so having to do with Netanyahu just kind of not wanting to really do anything at all. But the other problem is because we're so like heavily bought out by, or rather influenced by groups like AIPAC, we just sort of refuse to have any kind of neutral view. So those two things together kill any chance of peace talks. We'll condemn the Palestinians until the sky is green or yellow or some other unnatural color. But as far as actually staying neutral and trying to get both sides to concede on things, not at all. Yeah, but Brian, we know who you are. We know what you're trying to do, and it's not working. So you can make your belittling remarks, and they will continue to have zero effect. Minus being comically eluded by yours truly at various instances. I'm sure when you typed out all those negative qualities you thought I had, you were hoping I would tear up and cry on stream and say a lot of, as you said, ghetto things in retorting to that. But instead, I renounced your position and carried on. Yeah, it's like my stupid victory speech. Like whenever they do the what's this? Oh, hey, I gotta go. See you next stream. All right, well, enjoy yourself and make sure to come back as Sky so I can get back to saying the name I prefer. And get rid of that phone number. No one's calling you. That would be funny if someone actually changed their name on YouTube to a phone number and then they went on comment sections trying to get people to call them because they're so lonely. Like, hey, speak to me. Because I remember Reddit, their whole purpose with the I think it was called R for R, was that where it's literally people holding up a wanted poster being like, someone please talk to me. And then every time a dude posts one of them, they got no responses. And then if it's some broad, she could literally say hello and then put an F to confirm her gender. Swarms of people on the side. It's like, man, this whole one-sided, heavily slanted website can go to the abyss. So I saw all these websites are just a waste of time. Other than YouTube and Wikipedia, or all the other ones can just go and burn. Like on Discord, the whole point of having a server is so people can, for me anyway, was having people interact in there so they didn't have to leave random comments on different videos and then hope that I see it eventually. But it causes too much drama, and I'm probably gonna get rid of mine. Or if I keep it, I'm not gonna invite anybody else in there because it's like there's this weird tendency when a lot of people get together to just look for something to have conflict over. Like, oh my God, you didn't make me an admin, and I've watched you for 3 months. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't even know you. I didn't even really care to make anyone a mod. It's like, what a sick thing. So they'll take stuff like that and just have a big offense by it. But yeah, the North Korea situation is probably going to stay the same because what you'll see is a lot of Democrats who, since they're on that anti-Trump, / Trump derangement syndrome vaccine, they're going to like try to pretend as if North Korea is this evil country with all this horrible stuff and under no circumstance should we ever go anywhere near it. And, all that unreasonable, the U.S. is holier than thou trash when in actuality, they just happen to have a dictatorship. And that's pretty much it. I mean, they're making nukes like us. They've killed their own, like, they sit here and want you to feel bad about the various people that have been killed in North Korea, but it's like we do the exact same thing with our death penalty. So I'm not really feeling too much of a difference here. Uh, and they'll get mad at someone saying that, but it's true. The U.S. government does all kind of shady, evil stuff, and they want you to get upset over other countries for pretty much engaging in the same practices, just with the absence of a democracy. So it's all goofy. Well, this is funny right here. Person says, "I don't care about politics, but what do you think of the?" I don't care about something, so I'm going to ask you about it. That's what people who don't care about something like to say. And those of us who don't care about things always bring them up and try to get you to tell us what your opinion on them is. I even had to give this person an example. I said if I was asked about sports on a stream, I would just literally not say anything because it's something I don't care about and I don't really find any. I've never taken the time to try and look into or, glean whatever the news headlines were, even though they have networks dedicated to that like ESPN. So it's just kind of a thing where, they say one thing, do the other. Let's see. The U.S. also sanctions North Korea. Yeah, I said it earlier that we sanction them, and we engage in this economic warfare, and then like we're shocked when they don't want to do any more negotiation. It's like you already are punishing them. They have already seen that the basically some extent of a war with you. Oh yeah. No, I was saying the only two things Obama did that were actually worth the piss to me were the Iran deal, which was a masterpiece, and the restoring of relations with Cuba, which Trump tried to mess with a little bit, but whatever. It's all good. Everything else you could take it and throw it in the trash. Yeah, Cuba's not is another one of those countries that just gets smeared over and over. Oh, I appreciate that. I feel so flattered. Just warms my heart that you would say that. But I don't listen to a lot of the mainstream media, so that might be a reason for it because they do take these different countries and try to get you to be tricked about them. Like, oh my God, if you go to Cuba, you'll be under a dictatorship where people are starving under oppressive authority. And I'm like, dude, we live in a country where almost 80% of the people who live here are living paycheck to paycheck because the rent is too damn high and the wages are too low. And you want me to think that like these other places are so awful? It's like we're already experiencing it here. You can literally go drive down basically all of the southern part of California and just watch tent cities and homeless people just completely swell up the area. And just like any old dictator, because they always say dictators don't care about the people. Do you see any of these governors or the governor of our state or the mayor, actually going over there and trying to house people and clean stuff and whatever? No, they don't, because they don't care. It's all just being a prick. Okay, Best Beastie says also people dying because lack of health care. Yeah, we have 30 million Americans that don't have health insurance. And I think the number's actually gone up a bit. I have to go look, but yeah, it's really awful. And I had one person I was telling them that's why we need single payer. And I was being told, and there's someone who listens to Fox for fact. That's something I know for true and for true. I know for certain. And they tell me about how we have county hospitals, and that system is told is the people were talking about how it doesn't work and blah blah. And I'm like, if these county hospitals took everybody, then why the hell do 30 million Americans die from lack of health insurance? But those are the kind of things they can't juxtapose. They just say this random thing and then hope that it takes over your argument. And they were telling me, oh, well, I already paid this much for Medicare and under Sanders' thing. And I'm like, dude, it's supposed to be a 2% tax on Wall Street speculation. That's why he wants to raise taxes on the rich, so someone who's middle class, like your, ignorant self, will not have to pay higher prices. But that's what I'm saying. These people, they just get these little sound bites and then that's how they roll. They don't actually think about anything practically. Like if someone is going to sit here and tell me I'm going to tax the rich to pay for my social programs, and I'm a middle class person, I'm not going to think that's going to rain down on me because it's not. Okay, am I getting your name right, Beastie? The U.S. sanctions these countries, embargoes them, and trillions of dollars military intervening in these countries, financing coups, and then says socialism doesn't work. Well, we already have socialism over here with Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare, but no one's trying to get rid of that. They love them. That's why I said a lot of what I consider to be an ideal situation of, let's say, in this hypothetical, you have a child going to college and the parent pays for it so that the child can focus on going to school, which is what basically free college would do. That allows the kid to not be burdened by student debt when they get out, and to also possibly work something part time so they see a gain in their wealth, while the weight of the expenses falls upon those who can actually afford it. That's a socialist system, but guess what? It actually would make that person's life better instead of having a stupid anchor around their leg for doing what the U.S. encourages people to do: go to school no matter what. They don't consider military spending. So no. So you can give 700. We had this year 750 billion to the military, and 717 billion last year to them, and it's a-okay. It's just another day in the hood. Nobody asks how you're going to pay for it. Where's this coming from? Nothing. They always find the money for that. But then when you want to do something like free school, which has been proven to cost less, they go, "Oh my, we have no money," and they pull out the white, like the inside of a pocket where it's white, or they used to call it the Hoover flag. They pull that out, like, we don't have the money, and how are we going to pay for this? So, yeah, that's how they roll. They pick what they want to finance, and they sit there and lie and cry about cost of social programs because they don't care about you. That's why I said the U.S. I treat its government and the people around me the same way that I would expect any parasitic, non-friendly relationship to be. They simply we cohabitate, and that's it. I'm not trying to get involved with their personal expenses because none of them will do it for me, and because my own government will not try to assist me at all, no matter what it is. They're not going to see me ever join their military. They're not going to see, like, there's all kind of ways that I'm responding back in my own manner to their stuff. It doesn't mean you do anything that breaks the law, but you just basically stay away from it. Oh yeah, Venezuela. We're somehow helping them by installing our own leader. That's what I was saying. Imagine if I was leader of, let's say, Japan, and I said, Trump's not the president, Bernie's the president, or I don't know, Warren or Harris or Booker, whoever the hell. Like, they can't make that comparison, so they actually support and fall for a lot of these tricks. And then anyone who doesn't want to support a coup, by a foreign country no less, gets accused of being a Maduro supporter. You probably have his picture as your desktop background. It's like, oh, how'd you know? Damn, you're taking up the whole comment section. Nobody else is saying anything. I got 3 other people here. They're all tapped out. Be still left. He disappeared. We know Namaraj left, but he at least had the courtesy to tip his hat when he exited the premises. Let's not forget the government spying on a citizen. Oh man, here we go. The surveillance state. I mean, get rid of all of it. The Patriot Act, NSA. And let's not forget the Espionage Act that Obama used to put journalists in jail 6 times. And then we get told Trump is against journalists and he is going to make them pay for exposing himself. And it's like, guys, who are you fooling? Like, just stop. That's why I said what I would love to do is like a series called Hells of America, and you take one policy of one president or a series of presidents, and then just like do a whole pseudo documentary on it. It would be great. But the problem is I also want to do like general biographies where it's like you take a person's entire life, start to finish, and have clips in there if they're from this time period. So they might. I don't want to repeat the same information. Basically, I don't know. It would be interesting. But yeah, I agree with that about the surveillance state. Them having a copy of all your emails, and no one cares. Breaking the fourth, I was say fourth commandment, the Fourth Amendment. They're not going to talk about any of this stuff in the way I'm doing it. They're just going to sit there and let's see on CNN they've got Trump is saying I'm not siding with anyone by pulling U.S. forces out of Turkish-Syrian border. So they'd rather sit there and whine about something that is literally going to be reversed in a week or two. So let's see, fave political YouTuber, secular talk. Hey, if I were egotistical, I'd be like me. That'll be my own phrase. But seriously, nobody else is gonna leave any comments. I'm just gonna sit here with one person. Everybody else went to sleep. They have their computers on, but they're off. Like they fell asleep at their laptop or whatever other device they're using. By the way, how was my day? Uh, Slept all morning because I was up until like 6 or some other. I think 7, one of those 2 times, and then I was trying to do this stream and then like be recharged and whatnot, gathering up the different files. So I'd say all right at this point. I have one more thing I'm trying to do, and that'll be it for the day. Oh, man, no one else is gonna say anything. I can't believe it. I got so excited for a group chat, and I get 1 in 4. I get 25% of my viewers responding. That's terrible. Shame on all 3 of you who aren't saying anything. I'm gonna wave my finger at you like Obama would do, and look and turn my nose up. Hey, we're gonna think this is a 60 Minutes interview where every time they interview someone, they have them facing like that. I've seen it a couple of times. It's all right. It's kind of like Pac-Man, where it's if it were the only 1 or 2 of the only like 2 networks around, I'd probably watch it. But because there's so much other stuff and people who I think get to the point quicker, I'm not really interested. Just like with TYT, one of the reasons I don't watch them as often is because unless Cenk is on there, it's kind of not interesting at all. Because the only other commentator I liked in there a lot was Jimmy, and he already went and made his own show. See ya, take care, and start watching. What is this? The Finnish. Well, I've never heard of that before. All right. So no one else is gonna say anything besides Astros. One that was her singular comment of question. I guess after she ran out of swear words to use, a cat got her tongue. Yeah, that's why I said the U.S. is ran by fools, because only in a country where, like, I don't understand people at all. You would rather worship some president or some political party than just say this is a bad policy toward a country that's not screwing with us, and it doesn't matter who it is, it needs to change. They would rather go and say Trump is some wonderful historical bringer of disrupting the Washington, some generic trash that has nothing to do with policy. Like, dude, just face up to the fact that it's the same. That there is no difference, except how pretty the person who's doing it is is. I think the only policy that he's like actually done vastly different from Obama's on the environment, and even then, it's still like the other one was catching hell for signing the Paris Agreement, which was not considered a far enough reaching proposal to deal with climate change. So, other than that, it's just Obama redux. Like, I remember this guy wrote an interesting editorial where he was like, "This is Obama's 3rd term, just with an orange older version or something." I was like, "Man, that's horrible. Don't say that." And then I read it, and it's actually pretty. And everything in here is true, and they're mad at him for writing that, but it's all correct. Told you the mainstream media they love their former president who brought such civility and grace to the White House, and then the new one is supposed to be this horrible, terrible person. And I mean, I'm not exactly far away from that position, but I'm kind of on the thing of the other one before him wasn't exactly that good. Neither was one before that or the one before that. So I remember there's this channel, I think it's called I Hate Everything, and it's like that's genuinely me with these last four presidents. Like, yeah, it's trash, trash, trash. Or anyone have any last things to say before I retire for the day? Imagine I had a whole stream where I just rhymed the entire time. Like I wrote out hundreds of lines to use as responses and whatnot. It would be great. It would be like a little, and then have some musical number in the background. Any last comments, statements, or concerns? Speak now or forever hold your peace until Saturday. I mean, you could write a comment, but people don't like to do that for some reason. They show up at streams. They that other engagement. Nope. Oh, thanks. I hope you have a great day as well, Astro. And remember, those swear words are non-refundable. You have to stop using those. I'd recommend some soap and some other products to alleviate the usage of such profanity. I mean, I don't know who told you that speaking in such a manner online was reasonable, but I can assure you it's not. It's very detestable. I mean, you got me. Excuse me? Got. Oh, so you tricked me. So this is a character you play. Oh, I got. This is like what's that show called, Punked? So you actually speak in a cordial manner, but you show up on the stream to play this profanity laced character that comments every now and again. I get it. I was in that case, in that respect, I was very much got. So I'm now going to refer to you as Actor Astro Double A for this performance that you demonstrated. No, gotcha is in I get what you're saying, and then some laughing. Well, I didn't mean for this to be a comical. Oh, there's that word again. That word I invented. A comical expose of rhetoric. I was just trying to relay some information about North Korea. So if you got comedy out of this, I must have stepped into the wrong genre. I actually have a thing on my phone that puts like basically everything I upload automatically in the comedy category. And it would get on my nerves because if I would do a relationship video, I'd have people who were stupid enough to ask, you put this in the comedy category, so are you playing? And I was like, but I put news in the comedy category too, and you believe that occurred, so what is your point? So I said people online are really stupid, but oh, whatever.